How's your fantasy team? Does it suck? Does it suck so hard and so long that the only thing it's good at is sucking? I may be able to help you. We're breaking down every division and the fallout from the NFL draft. This is the AFC North. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus, that's Kevin, and if there's one thing we're good at, it's finding value late in your fantasy football drafts. If there's two, it's Bacharach. Join us now as we talk about the size of men and how fast they run. I'm wearing pants. Nevermore, Baltimore Ravens. With the 22nd pick overall, the Ravens took wide receiver Zay Flowers out of Boston College. He's 5'9" in socks, 182 pounds, or slightly more. I think he tried to bulk up right before the combine. He's got 4.42 speed, great lateral quickness. He was the third receiver taken off the board. I love Zay. I love him. I love him. He was my favorite receiver in this draft, and I'm on record saying so. Go check out my previous videos. He's diminutive. I didn't think he was going to measure quite that small, but I love his yards after catch ability. The Ravens wide receiver depth chart is OBJ, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and Nelson Aguilar. OBJ is 30 years old. He's coming off an injury, and he signed a one-year deal. Rashad Bateman is 23 years old, but he's played 2 incomplete seasons so far due to a litany of injuries. He's had a Liz Frank injury, a foot sprain, a groin sprain. You can cross Devin Duvernay off the list. He had an opportunity last year and he didn't exploit it. I think he's only going to be used for returns and depth still. Nelson Aguilar, who's 30 and his hands are made of butter, not worried about him. The only other competition here would be the tight ends. Mostly Mark Andrews, but Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar came on a little bit towards the end of last year, and I still think they have a lot of upside. The ADP for Zay Flowers right now in a 12-team rookie draft would be about the middle to the back end of the first round. Expectations are high for Zay Flowers. I'm not afraid of an aging OBJ coming off injury on a one-year deal. I'm not afraid of Rashad Bateman who keeps missing time. Zay Flowers can be used anywhere, and I think he kind of reminds me of Hollywood Brown, except way more versatile. I'm not afraid of his size, though it is smaller than I was expecting at the time. Another wide receiver is probably coming down the pike, but I'm not really worried about anything here blowing this up for the future. The undrafted free agent class includes Deontay Demus Jr., wide receiver from Maryland. He's 6'3", 212 pounds, and ran a 4.57. He's got an RAS of 7.85. But I'm not really a huge fan, so I'm not recommending him. There's also Keaton Mitchell, running back from East Carolina. He's 5'8", 179 pounds, and ran a 4.37. He's got an RAS of 6.12. He's a special player, and if he wasn't on this team, I'd say he'd be worth stashing in deep leagues. He's a little smaller, and he's not passing the other running backs on this team. And Lamar Jackson doesn't throw much to the running back, which he would need to be relevant. Cincinatti Bengals. The Bengals didn't turn to offense until late in the fourth quarter when they took Charlie Jones out of Purdue. Who the fuck is that? He's a wide receiver, 5'11", 179 pounds. He ran a 4.43. His comp is... Okay, I lied. I know who Charlie Jones is. He's okay. The top 3 wide receiver spots here are Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Now, T. Higgins is at the end of his rookie deal, but no, Charlie Jones is not coming for his job. Tyler Boyd is 28, but he just re-signed on a 4-year deal. Now, potentially, Charlie Jones could be a wide receiver 4 in this room, maybe a 3 someday, but probably that 3 would come much later than you'd want. Right now, he's being mocked near the back of the 4th round in a 12-team rookie draft. There are no right answers there. Most likely, you're going to have to choose between him and somebody else you probably don't care about. For me, I would choose Xavier Hutchinson at that point, just based solely on his talent. I like him better. In the 5th round, they grabbed running back Chase Brown out of Illinois. He's 5'10", 209 pounds, and ran a 4.43. The depth chart is Joe Mixon, Travion Williams, and Chris Evans. Now, Evans and Williams, I think we know what they are at this point, and I wouldn't expect a lot from them. Chase is not the Joe Mixon replacement. He's the Samaje Perine one. Now, he's good, or good enough, but I'm not even sure there's a Joe Mixon replacement coming. He's got 5th round draft capital on him, and someone will get drafted at some point. But even if they do, I still think Chase Brown has value and will stay relevant. because even if this turns into a running back by committee in the future, he'll be involved. Mock drafts currently have Chase Brown going at the back of the 3rd round, where if you have to choose a running back, you would be choosing between him, Eric Gray, or DeWayne McBride. And I'm fine with that. I think the advantage goes to Brown at that point because I think he's better and I think he's going to get more playing time earlier. You'd also be choosing between some later tight ends and wide receivers at that spot that I'm okay with you passing by. I think he's a good investment, one that could heat up and possibly, over time, become an unreasonable price point. In the 6th round, they took a chance on wide receiver Andrei Iosivas out of Princeton. Princeton? Well, ooh la la, college boy. Probably not a good sign when your draft picture is you missing a ball. He's 6'3", 205 pounds, and ran a 4.43. All his metrics are top shelf. He had an RAS of 9.96. Looks like his muscles went to Princeton too. Now, it's a big red flag for me when somebody who's such a physical freak goes so late in the draft. But the same opportunities that I talked about for Charlie Jones still apply here. And the competition is just Trent Taylor and Trenton Irwin. Now, Iosivas is mocked near the back of the 4th round, where you're just grabbing anybody at that point. I mean, Iosivas over Demario Douglas? No matter which choice you make, we all lose. Here's their list of UDFAs. The only one I found interesting was wide receiver Cedric Jackson out of Auburn. I couldn't find much tape on him. I have no clue if he's good, but he is athletic. He's also the nephew of Bo Jackson. Yeah, little fun for your trivia night. Cleveland Browns. In the 3rd round, the Browns took wide receiver Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. He's 6'3", 213 pounds, and ran a 4.54. He's big, physical, got enough speed to win, but the Browns' first pick in this was a wide receiver? Their wide receiver depth chart includes Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, not to mention David Bell, Anthony Schwartz, Marquise Goodwin, Jakeem Grant. They got more bodies than the Bible's got Psalms. Now, my first takeaway here is that Jerome Ford, the running back, is a big winner. A lot of people thought that they needed a running back in this draft, and they didn't get one. With Kareem Hunt gone, made sense there was space. They chose Tillman over people like Tajay Spears, Devin A-Chain, Tank Bigsby, Roshan Johnson. So they looked at Tillman in the draft, and they said he can help us win games. Now, I do have one major question. What is a 3rd round draft pick to the Browns? Because they used one last year on David Bell, and the year before on Anthony Schwartz. So the fact that they used one on Cedric Tillman this year, does it matter? Amari Cooper is on the 2nd year of a 5-year deal. He's getting a lot of money, and if they're looking to move on, I don't think it's with Tillman. Deshaun Watson's number 1 receiver being Tillman? I don't think that's setting him up for success. Elijah Moore is on the 3rd year of a rookie deal. He's relatively cheap, and they traded for him, so I doubt they're trying to replace him. Then there's Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's on the final year of a rookie deal. Is there a giant bullseye on him? I do think Donovan Peoples-Jones is the odd man out here. Not this year, but I think they're replacing him with Tillman next year. Now, should you sell Donovan Peoples-Jones? I think the answer is no. He's only 24 years old, and he could be traded prior to or during the season. There may be a wide receiver thirsty team out there who might make a deal for him. He's on the last year of a 6th round rookie contract, so he could become a rental for another team this year, or he could just hit free agency next year and end up in a better situation. So I would most likely hold on to him and just see what happens. Cedric Tillman is currently being mocked around the 3rd round of rookie drafts near Chase Brown and Hendon Hooker. He's a big-bodied, physical receiver that I like, but it's a bit of a tough sell. I'm not even sure Deshaun Watson is even good anymore. In the 5th round, they took quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, and mucho athletic. The depth chart is Mr. All-22, accusers, Deshaun Watson, Josh Dobbs, and Kellen Mond. Now, DTR is not going to be the backup. That belongs to Dobbs. But he could fight Kellen Mond for the 3rd spot, if they even roster a 3rd QB. How could DTR become relevant, even in this season? Well, you'd need a Watson injury and Dobbs losing multiple games. Because only if he's lost the season for them are they going to throw DTR in there just to see what they've got. Now, he could be a stash in deep Dynasty Superflex leagues, but he's not the QB of the future. Here's their UDFAs. Now, remember earlier when I said Jerome Ford was a big winner because they didn't draft any running backs and some thought that was a big need? Now, sure, they could get Zeke Elliott or re-sign Kareem Hunt, but if not, there's a spot open. A spot that could be filled by this guy. Running back Hassan out of Georgia Tech. He's 5'11", 196 pounds, and ran a 4.46 at his pro day. He's got an RAS of 8.66, and I really like his tape. I want to see more, and I think he can beat out John Kelly for the 4th running back spot here. He could be a stash. Pittsburgh Steelers. In the 3rd round, the Steelers selected tight end Darnell Washington out of Georgia. He's 6'7", 264 pounds. He's an athletic freak. Respectfully. Some have compared him to Kyle Pitts, but that's stupid. Just because you eat a box of crayons doesn't mean you can shit a rainbow. And the depth here is Pat Freiermuth, Zach Gentry, Connor Haywood. It's paper thin. I don't understand the drafting of Connor Haywood anyway. I thought that was a strange choice. He's under 6 foot. Now, who made that choice? Were they being funny? When he goes onto the field to play, does he bring his own ladder or does the club provide one? Okay, he's not that short, but I am taller, and I don't want my tight end asking me to reach things for him off the top shelf. He's not a threat to Pat Freiermuth. I think he's a good backup tight end, and they did need size. They needed depth in this room, and maybe he'll develop into something that can coexist with Pat Freiermuth. Currently, he's being drafted about the top of the 4th round, and for me, there are still running backs and wide receivers I'd rather stash there. And also, I hope my tight end situation is a lot better than needing to reach for Darnell Washington. Here's their group of UDFAs. Nope, I didn't see anyone that interested me here. We're breaking down the NFL draft by every division, so if you haven't yet, please go check out the other videos as well. Post your comments below, like, subscribe, say hi to your mom for me, and we'll see you next time. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
How's that possible? I don't know. He's not a threat to fat Pat. He's not a fat Pat. He's not a threat to fat Pat. He's not even a baby fat Pat. Would we go to the frat? We might go. Get a little pat on the back?